Welcome to the Art of Film. I'm your host, Andres. So excited to have you guys here today. The Art of Film is going to be a little subset, little bonus episodes of the main YouTube channel, The Art of Comics. Now don't worry, we're not going to do the art of hemming your pants or the art of fixing your car or cooking. It's going to be mostly Art of Comics, but I wanted to kind of create a little sub-channel or set of playlist of film-related topics. I don't want to create a whole new channel, The Art of Film, that's too much, but I thought it'd be fun to do these bonus episodes about film because it's narrative, it's structure, it's art, and I love that stuff. So let's talk a little bit about film. And feel free, if you're not into film, you don't like movies, you just want to hear about comics and graphic novels, you can stop watching now. It's all good. But if you like film, or you want to learn a little bit more about film, stick around. And those new people who are here for the film, glad to have you. So I'm excited to talk to you guys about this particular set from Criterion, the Essential Fellini box set, which is 16 of his films. It's not his complete filmography, but it's a good amount of films. First, a little bit about myself. I'm not a professional critic in any way. My experience with film is as follows. I did some short films and theater work in college at the University of Santa Barbara. And then after college, I lived down in Los Angeles. I did some independent work there, did some independent films, and even directed and wrote my own 40-minute short, so long form. So I know a little bit of work. I'm working on another little film project, but I'm definitely, I would say, not a professional, but I'm a dabbler, let's say. But I'm a studier and purveyor and student of the art form. So when I saw this box set of Fellini, I wanted to get it because I wasn't very familiar with his work. I've seen some of the other, Italian and French and Swedish directors and films that are considered the films to see, but I didn't know Fellini that well, so I was really excited to show you guys this. First off, this is really well done. It is beautiful, it is large, it's got this kind of album, like an LP box set, which is nice. I really like the design of this book. They really did a great job of book design and just like laying this out. Let me open this up for you. So this does have the 16 discs for the 16 films. There is a booklet here that is essays, which I have yet to read, but I'm excited to kind of like go through these essays about his film work. So for the big hardcore film nerds, you're going to want to read these essays. I'm excited, but look at the design. It's really, really well done. And there's color in here. It's just brilliant. And how many pages is this? This is about 150 or so. Yeah, about 150 pages. And then the film guide. Another kind of cool design choice, different size. This, you might recall, this is kind of like the little pamphlets you'd get in the old road shows. And so it's got that kind of look and feel to it. And this is the guide to the film. So this is actually, you're getting all the kind of production notes and a little background of the film itself, each film, director, the bonus features. What's nice is that this box set is not just the films, but you do get a lot of commentaries, a lot of behind the scenes stuff. They're using pretty much everything they can get their hands on as far as the TV interviews Fellini's done, in Italy, all the different spurious little bits of information. They put this together in this really beautiful set. When you open it up, there's this really nice kind of opening, and then we pull this out. We get our films here, and then another set. It's all colored, just so nice. And so you got your films in this kind of like almost album book kind of jazz. Really well done. This is going to be two parts because I do want to go through the films. That's the whole point of this, right? So it's not just about buying this on Amazon for $170 or whatever. I think it's about 170, something like that. But it's about the films, and it's about like what is he saying. So Fellini, probably the most premier Italian some would say Sergio Leone maybe had a more of a pop culture influence just because of, the spaghetti western world. But Fellini is kind of like the guy people go to. He began that neo-realism. Sorry, it's late. Neo-realism. So neo-realism is a film technique that is using some real people, not just actors, so non-professional actors in roles, in parts, and it's got a little bit more of that cinema verite documentary feel to it. It's his films, and especially these first ones that I'm going to talk about, kind of the black and white era in the 50s, are very much character driven and not plot driven. Not exclusively. There are some that are pretty plot driven, but a lot of it is about characters. And you really get a sense of his passion and his love of theater, vaudeville, of the production, of the filmmaking. All that is in this film, in a lot of his films. So we'll start with the first film. The first film that they share with us is called Variety Lights. And Variety Lights is actually the film that he co-directed. So he co-directed Variety Lights and with Alberto Latuna. I'm gonna mess these names up. So I'm not Italian. Perdone. It's okay. So forgive me for that. I will mess these names up. But Federico Fellini co-directed this one with Alberto Letuada. That's what I'm going to say. Variety Lights has his wife in it, which she's in a lot of the first films as one of the characters. This film was interesting. I appreciated it. It is about the vaudeville traveling group, and there is the main character who is a kind of down and out aging vaudeville actor who finds these kind of starlets and brings them up and raises them to the next level, right? So it's bringing the new young girl and bringing them up. And so it's a really interesting look on his love. He falls in love with this starlet, this little brunette who's pretty ambitious, and she has her own ways of moving ahead and using her physicality and her charisma to kind of move up, leaving him behind. So there's a love story. It's a lot about the love of the theater, of performance, which I can appreciate, having done some stand-up and acting, things like that. I get that, the juice of being on stage. You get a feeling for that, and especially the traveling, almost carny circus element of going to town. You're making towns. You're trying to, find ways to make money, to get the gigs, and also get the next higher gig, right? Get the most audience and things like that. So it was well received. I liked this one. It wasn't my favorite of the five that I'm talking about tonight, but I thought this was a good film, and you really start to see the love of the medium of the filmmaking and kind of like that world. The second one we'll talk about is The White Chic. The White Chic is The White Chic was really good. I like this one. This was a lot more of a straight, kind of a comical farce in a way. White Chic is about a newlywed coming to Rome for their honeymoon. And you have the wife, who is the bride, who is demure, innocent, pure, and we get the impression that they haven't even consummated their relationship yet. And she, though, has been living in this fantasy world of these, it's like the modern day telenovela. There are these almost storyboard type of films, like silent films, that people would get into and watch, and it's kind of romance, like romance stories, basically. Let's just call it romance stories. She knows the actor is going to be in Rome where he's at. So she esconds while the husband's thinking she's taking a bath and everything. She takes off, goes to find this actor, the white Chic, right? And has this and gets caught up in this world of filmmaking. She gets, put in as an extra. She's now one of the dancers on the troupe and everything. And they're on the beach. A lot of beach with Fellini. You're going to see a beach scene in every film of his. I mean, it's Italy. Maybe there's a lot of coastline, I get, right? But there's a lot of beach scenes. Meanwhile, the husband is in a panic because his family are influential. He's there to see his uncle who has connections to the Pope. They're supposed to see the Pope tomorrow at 11 a.m. He's frantic. He can't find his wife. And then he finds a note that says, ... I can't wait to see you. We're going to have a memorable night together. Signed, the white Chic. He's thinking, oh my gosh, she's off to have some affair. So he's scrambling, and it's got that kind of comedic, feel of him looking for his wife. She is in fantasy world with this white Chic actor. She finds him and everything. He's a bit of a cad, tries to come on to her. She does it. So it's got a little bit of comedy of errors. I liked it, though. It had there were moments when you're thinking, oh, why is she doing these things? But it's about, in the end, it kind of it's a nice little button in the end. It's a nice little tie-in. They do come back together, a little Hollywood type of ending. But there are these moments when you get frustrated with her and her decisions, but it's about the love of it. No, it's not about the love. It's about a loss of innocence, really. It's about her realizing that it is fantasy and her willing to go back to reality, and him, even though the husband's a bit of a jerk to her, grateful to be together. There's some interesting forgiveness there. There's some interesting kind of dynamics there, and I thought the white Chic was very well done. That was his first film that he was a full-on director for, and he worked with some of the same writers and cinematographers for these first couple films. The next film I want to talk about is E or I don't know. I think it's E. Vitelloni. I Vitelloni. We're going to call it that. This one was interesting because this is really segmented out. They're little vignettes, unconnected, of these four best friends who are kind of like the man-children. That word Vitelloni is like young calf, where they're these young calves who haven't grown up yet. They're men who are in their late 20s, maybe early 30s, who still live at home, who aren't married, who are kind of like just out partying, doing their thing, and not really growing up, not being men, right? And so we get to see each of them. One gets married off because she's pregnant, so he's married because of it's interesting because you have scenes where the son, who's in his, let's say, late 20s, is getting beat with the belt by his father. You wouldn't see that in today's society. You just don't see, like, when you're an adult, when you're past 18, you just don't get physically beat by your dad, but here, and being submitted to it, and submitting yourself to the beating, right? But in this, back then, in the 50s, or, you would take it. But I liked this because you really get to see these different, one, wants to be one's trapped in a wife with a marriage that now he's still trying to be a cad. There's that issue. The other one is a screenwriter who's trying to write this play, One is trying to find a job. And so you get a chance to see these different facets of their life. And it's not linear. It kind of goes off into these different little sub movies or little vignettes, and so almost like an anthology. I liked it. I thought it was very good. Yeah, I thought it was very good. La Estrada, is that the one? Hang on, let me make sure I get the ones I want. Let's do La Estrada last, because that's my favorite. We'll do no. Okay, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. We're gonna keep going. Okay, let's do La Dolce Vita. La Dolce Vita. La Dulce Vita. In Spanish, we say dulce. Dolce Vita. This one's highly regarded, and I actually have mixed feelings about this one. It's a look on the paparazzi came from this term. Actually, it's kind of interesting. There's a character called paparazzo, and that's a photographer who follows celebrities, and so that's where paparazzi comes from. The term. It was a guy's name. It is a look of celebrity and gossip rags and that world through that lens. There's one of them who's this failed, writer who's now working for these, gossip magazines, newspapers, and he's following the debutantes and the celebrities throughout their different lives and parties. It is, again, not very plot driven. It's very much character studies. It's his kind of going in and out of different relationships with women. He's got this one girlfriend that it's a failed relationship in every way, but there's still this connection, and there's this tumult there, and then there's the starlet of the week that comes by and that he's enamored with, and we see the brokenness of this character. We see the society and the fragment of the celebrity, the strata of celebrity versus the kind of the common man. The inside look at maybe the highfalutin parties and things like that. There's some great shots. It's beautifully done. There's some neat little surreal kind of moments. But I didn't care for this one as much as everyone thought. I thought it was good. It was very long. It's 3 hours, and you start to kind of feel it because it's because it meanders a bit, and there is no plot that kind of drives it through. You do have to kind of be willing to just take these little bits of story, So not my favorite, but I do want to end on my favorite, and I'm going to end on La Estrada because La Estrada is, and I think does La Estrada mean star? I want to say star, but I'm not sure on that. La Estrada is great. It is, again, the lead is his wife. And let me give you the name of that person because you need to know it. Marcela, yeah. No, wait, I'm sorry. Not Marcela. Massina. Is it Julieta? Julieta Massina is his wife, his first wife, or the wife for a while in Fellini world. Julieta Massina is freaking brilliant. Okay, she's not the classical starlet that you think of in the 60s and 50s with the statuesque figure and the cheekbones, and there are those actresses in these films. Don't get me wrong. You're going to get that. You're going to get the style of Italian dress and fashion, and that's cool. And you're going to see Italy, and you're going to see Rome, and that's just, if you're just a fan of that kind of stuff, you're going to get it in these films. It's really fun, especially also in some of the older, the colored ones like Roma and things like that. You're going to get to see some really cool stuff. But Messina does such a great job. She's short. She's got a round face. Here's the character right here. She's kind of like this. She's doing this kind of a Chaplin-esque character in this. She's so damn good in this, and I think she she either won the Emmy, or she was nominated for an Emmy for this. Brilliant. But we got to also talk about the co-lead, or maybe the lead. It's hard to know who the lead is in this. Is the character of Zappano by Anthony Quinn. Now, Anthony Quinn we know because we've seen him in other things like Guns of Navarone, Mexican-American actor. You've seen him. He's got a long face. He's brilliant. Anthony Quinn in this movie, my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. This is a film, my gosh, it's really about a man losing his chance for love. It's sad, dude. This is my jam. My wife always tells me, why do you watch these sad movies? This is why. They're just good. This was the film that really made Fellini outside of Italy. This is the film that people were like, La Strada, you gotta see this. Outside of Italy, this is what got him on the map. So the story, let me tell you the story is. The story is a man, Zappano, is a traveling performer, right? The Fellini-ness, right? Traveling, carny guy who has a motorcycle attached to like a gypsy wagon that he hauls around little towns and does these little shows. Well, he goes to the beach to an old woman with there's some sort of debilitating mental issue with this girl, a little bit off in some ways. I wouldn't say she's retarded, but there's something going on there. And buys her for, it was like 10,000 lira, which I don't know how much was that in that time, but 10,000 lira, got her to this girl. Evidently, he had his sister before, and somehow she died. And now he's back to get another girl. He needs a sidekick. He needs the as the magician, he needs the what do you call it, the assistant. So he buys the girl, and Messina plays the girl, who's a little bit shy, awkward, scared, timid. There's a lot of just very unfamiliar with the world, very sheltered and kind of afraid of the world. And she does a brilliant job of that. And she plays almost, in her acts, almost like a Charlie Chaplin mute who, does some kind of miming and plays some instruments and more of a comedic character on stage. And it's about their relationship and how he does abuse her, but there's some love there. It's not romantic, but it could have been maybe. And they join a company. Then so they progress in their kind of career, going through towns. That becomes a problem. There's opportunities for them to split. They attempt to do that, doesn't work. Just really brilliant look at this relationship. And then when, should I spoil this? Let's just go ahead and, I won't spoil it. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. Ending is tragic. And we see him, he's an alcoholic. He just loses everything. And Anthony Quinn does a brilliant job of performing it. And that, I think, is what... Should we do... You know what? Screw it. We'll do one more. Because this is bonus. We're going to do El Bidon. El Bidon is the other film I saw. The last one we'll talk about tonight. El Bidon is... This is more of a heisty film. This is about a group of thieves. Con men. 3 con men in particular. And it's about them. They do these elaborate schemes of stealing peasants' money through false deeds for apartments, or pretending there's hidden treasure in their home and they dig it up, So there's all these little schemes they're doing. And it's about them losing their humanity for that, and one of them is getting too old for it, and he's like, I gotta get out of the game. But what else do you do? How do you survive? And one of the younger ones has a family, and when she finds out what they do for money, how does that affect things? So it's a really neat look. Again, the social elements of the poor and how they live beyond their means because they're thieves. But then when they're down on their luck, because there's no thievery action happening, times are slim. So you get a chance to see like how the poor live, how the rich live. There's a lot of that in Fellini's films too. You really get a sense of Rome, Italy in the the 40s and 50s and 60s, the social strata. We haven't done anything about the wars yet, so there's nothing really about World War II or One yet. We haven't gone into Mussolini and that. We will in some of the other films, but it's definitely like social strata and the performance. This one does not. This one, the thief one, El Bidon, is not about any kind of performance or filmmaking. It's just about these guys. But it has some neat like Hitchcockian stuff in it. Another tragedy in the end. The loss of family and everything for this. And sometimes when you try to steal from a thief, it turns bad, right? So some of these films were not super well accepted by critics at the time. Not everything was a slam dunk. But I think as we look back on them, especially in something like this, we really can analyze them and learn from them. And if you listen to like Scorsese, he loves Fellini. There's tons of Fellini in Scorsese. There's if you look at Tarantino, some of those guys, Tarantino might be a little more Godard, but he knows Fellini. All the modern filmmakers, are aware of this director, to say the least. I am super excited about these. I've only seen 6 or 7 of these so far, but I wanted to get this video down, and then I'll watch the rest and do another one. But it's like a film class. It's like studying this and learning from it, and then trying to say, okay, what could I do in my storytelling, right? In my film or book or play, what can I learn from this as far as pacing, as far as connecting with audiences, the stories I tell, plot versus character-driven stories, narrative, stuff like that. Where El Bidon is very like plot-driven and linear, and La Strada is too, then you have things like La Dolce Vita, which is not, right? Or even I Vitoni, which is not either at all. It's like all over the place. So you get these different kind of ways to tell narration and story, which is really fun. So that's it for part 1 of Federico Fellini's box set. I'm excited to share with you others. If you want to see more of these art of films, check out the subscribe and see what else is coming up. And if you're into comics, I do videos of those every Tuesdays and Saturdays. So thanks a lot for watching. Enjoy your films and keep watching stuff. Bye, guys. Take care.